Hey book lovers, my name is Em and I want to talk about books. And cats. Welcome back, book lovers. So today is a special episode. I had the chance to chat with one of my favorite indie authors, Carol James Marshall. She has a new book out that is called Garden, which we talk about briefly, and I will cover a little more in depth in the second half of the episode. Also, there will be no weekly writing. I want to focus completely on our guest this week, but trust me, next week's chapter is going to be a good one. So I have a couple of notes before the interview portion of this episode. This was my first Zoom interview, and we had some technical difficulties, and Zoom didn't end up recording. Luckily, I had a secondary recording going, or it would have been completely gone. But needless to say, the sound is off for the interview part of this episode. Please bear with me. I'm very, very new to Zoom. Also, my anxiety would like me to explain that this is my first ever interview, and I don't really feel like I did a great job. I have a lot of notes for my next one, but I really do enjoy talking to other book lovers, especially authors, and I'm going to stick with my growth mindset approach and just keep trying to improve. So I will be trying to do more interview episodes, and hopefully I'll get a little better. I also might have been overly excited and nervous to talk to her. We kind of started following each other years ago, back when my book Super Gym came out and her first book was coming out. And I really admire her writing and her approach to self-publishing. I was so super grateful that she agreed to chat with me. And hopefully she'll be back on the show again soon, because it was really fun to talk books with her. So now, without any more anxiety-driven qualifications, here is my chat with indie author Carol James Marshall. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this. I'm so excited.
Oh, that's cool. I love doing podcasts and all that. And I'm not the type of person to reach out to podcasts and all that, but if someone asks me. Quite frankly, I'd love to start a podcast.
Yeah.
I've had ideas for starting a podcast. It's just a time thing. I'm just not really good with time management. It's just one of my downfalls.
It was a surprising amount of, a lot more time than I thought it was going to be, when I got started.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I also think it'd be kind of difficult for me to keep a schedule. I'm not good at keeping schedules, what I mean? For
I know what you mean.
Things. I don't write on a schedule. I don't publish on a schedule.
Yeah.
I just keep a schedule. I just can't.
Yeah. Well,
anyway.
That's all right, too.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll just jump right in.
Sure, yeah.
I'm so thrilled to have you on the show. I have enjoyed your writing for quite a while now. I think I first found it with the first Sister of the Gray book.
Yeah.
And now I can't remember the title, but
The Women of the Gray, there's Starburst and Red Drug and Stainless Steel.
Yeah. So Starburst was when I first discovered your writing.
Oh. Funny enough, that's my very first book. I just wrote it. I had no idea what I was doing. Not a clue. I sat down and I wrote this book, and I would take chapters to my boss, who was also a really good friend, and I'm like, this is complete crap, isn't it? And she's like, it's not crap. Keep writing.
Oh, that's great.
I just kept doing it, and I fell down that rabbit hole.
Yeah. So. That's awesome. I didn't realize that was your first book. That's really impressive.
Okay. Well, okay. Full disclosure,
yeah.
I had written 2 books prior to that, and I threw them in the trash.
Oh, yep.
I threw them in the trash. I didn't even bother to read through them, anything. I just threw them in the trash. And Starburst was the first book that I actually just said, okay, I'm going to tell you. This is a crazy story, but I'm going to tell you why I wrote Starburst, and then I decided to go ahead and publish it and all that. I was at a doctor's appointment, and there was a lady next to me that was just glued to her Kindle. And I'm not a very nosy person, but I like to know what people are reading. So I'm like, what are you reading? What's that book? Because I'm a book nerd. I'm always have a book. I'm always reading. Like, what are you reading? It looks really good. You are glued to your Kindle.
Yep.
And she's like, she patted my leg and said, honey, she goes, my husband laughs at me, but I just can't get enough of these werewolf stories.
Ooh.
She was reading werewolf erotica.
Oh.
I had no idea that was even a thing.
Yep.
No idea. She blew my mind. I'm like, what? But I mean, no judgment. I was just like, what? 'Cause I didn't even know it was a thing.
Yeah.
So she left her, to see the doctor. And I sat there going, if there's people out there in the world that are reading werewolf erotica,
yep.
maybe there's somebody out there in the world that wants to read my stuff.
Yeah.
I swear that was my moment. That was my moment that I was like, I'm just going to go ahead and write and publish and see what happens.
That is amazing. I love that. Oh, that's so funny.
It's not a very nice story.
I think it's great. Yeah. No, I think that's great.
I was like, because I didn't think my stuff was good enough for anybody to read, but I thought, well, hell, somebody's sitting there writing werewolf erotica and somebody's listening and reading werewolf erotica.
Right.
Somebody will read my stuff.
Yeah. I think that's like one of the hardest things when you first start out writing is to get over that like fear of putting yourself out there. Because I had a few things that I wrote and then just trashed. And I ended up starting, I used to do plays with middle and high school students, and we had no budget. So I would just write those. And that kind of got me used to like just putting it out there. 'Cause sometimes I would have to come up with something kind of last minute, and it didn't really, it wasn't perfect, but it was close enough, So
Yeah. And you learn, I think, as you progress as a writer, as you write more and you get reviews and you don't get reviews, you kind of learn to grow a thicker skin.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? So if someone doesn't like your stuff, that's okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because someone else will. But I do take a different approach. Like a lot of writers will say, if somebody doesn't like your stuff, that's okay. Somebody else will like it. I think that you should pay attention to the people that don't like your stuff. Why didn't they like your stuff? What was it about it? If they're nitpicking just because they didn't like the way you did things, that's one thing. But if they have solid, solid ideas, solid reasons, then I think it's important to listen.
Yeah, I think that's great.
I've tried.
Yeah.
I've tried.
Yeah, easier said than done, I'm sure.
Easier said than done.
But yeah, that's a great...
I'm one of those that write what I write because I want to write it, you know what I mean?
So
it's like, well, that's how I want to do it.
Yeah.
That's how it's going to get done.
But it's good to always be trying to improve, too, and you can take criticism that way, too.
I have I love her and she's wonderful, but my editor is hardcore. And so, like, she runs me through, like, the ringer. Like, she is hard on me, and I love it because she makes me a better writer. So I'm like, if I can deal with her,
that's
when
awesome.
she tells me, then I can deal with just about what anybody tells me.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I'm very lucky to have the editor that I have. She does not hold back at all. She does not care about your feelings at all.
Nice.
Which is what I need.
Yeah, that's great. How'd you meet your editor?
I was in a writing group. I can't remember the name of it. I think maybe we met in the same writing group. No, I was in a writing group run by a lady named Audrey Hughley. And she has a writing group. And for the life of me, I can't remember the name of the writing group. And I joined this writing group. It's like a writing group that you pay to be in it and stuff like that. And I felt that it was a great group for me as a beginner because it really taught me the best practices and the basis.
Yeah.
Of what I needed to do. I outgrew the group, but I met my editor there.
Oh, that's awesome.
So once I met her and she edited. I believe she did she did the Demon Dealer, the Demon Dealer for me, and after that, I'm like, I can't have another editor.
Yeah.
Like, I have to have you. I will stalk you. She lives like states away from me.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, I will be like in your yard in the bushes if you refuse to edit my books. I can't.
Oh, that's awesome.
From now on, because I just believe that she makes me so much better than I actually am. So.
Yeah, that's great. Demon Dealer was fantastic. I actually talked about that on an earlier episode of the podcast because I read it not too long ago and I loved it. It was one of those, like, I think I read it in like one night, like couldn't put it down.
Really?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
That makes me happy.
Yeah, that was great.
I wrote the Demon Dealer because I was like, I want to write the most despicable people I can think of. Like, just horrible human beings.
Yeah.
You know, are you familiar with Miranda Lambert?
Vaguely, yeah.
Okay, so if you just go on YouTube, you go Miranda Lambert, Mama's Broken Heart.
Yeah.
I based the Gia character on that music video.
Oh,
I watched
okay.
that music video one day, and I'm like, that's Gia.
Nice.
That's
I like that you always have music links to things with your books, because I remember that from, was it Ella, I believe? Or one of them, there was a music influence that you posted.
I'm really weird. I get, like, there will be a song.
Yep.
And sometimes the music video goes with the song, and that is my muse for that book.
Oh, that's amazing.
So I will listen to that song repeatedly till my husband tells me to put on headphones.
Yep.
Why do you keep listening to that song? You're driving me crazy. But that song gives me the vibe of that book.
That's awesome, I mean?
Yeah.
And
the Demon Dealer didn't really have like an all-over song.
Yeah.
One song. It's just that particular music video and that song.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's her. That's her.
That's awesome.
I think that's Gia.
One of the things I really loved about that book was that all of the characters were so terrible, and there wasn't really like any redeeming of anybody. Yeah. I love that.
Done on purpose.
Yeah.
I just wanted really horrible people, and nothing good should come to any of them. That's why there's like, that's the way I don't want to give anything away, but that's why it's written the way it's written. These are just despicable human beings, and you don't want anything good for any of them.
No, you're really not rooting for anybody. Yeah, I really enjoyed that one.
Oh, good. I'm glad. It makes me happy. It's good to hear.
I really love your short fiction too. I just read The Thing in the Pool, and I liked that one was kind of funny. I liked that.
Thanks. The Thing in the Pool is actually completely the kid, and he knows this is based on my 12-year-old.
Oh, yeah.
That is my 12-year-old. That's just his personality and the way he thinks about things.
Yeah.
So he knows that that's him.
Yeah.
He hasn't read it, of course. Kids don't.
No.
They don't want to read their mom's stuff.
No, of course
not. No, I'm not going to read your stuff. Mom writes books? What? I don't know.
Yeah.
But thanks. Yeah. Have you read Troublemakers? I think that's my funniest one.
Yes, I really loved that one too. I actually I read it this year and then realized I had read it last year too on St. Patrick's Day. I love that you wrote a St. Patrick's Day story, like, because that's such a holiday that like nobody really does anything with.
And, indie author to indie author, man, that works well.
Yeah, I bet.
That works well. That works out pretty good because I get like so many downloads and all
I
that.
bet.
I give it away for free because it's just a magnet, so I give it away for free. I wrote that. I think I put it in my social media. I watched the first season of American Gods.
Oh, yeah.
And there is a leprechaun in American Gods, Mad Sweeney.
Yep.
I became obsessed with Mad Sweeney so much that I wrote Troublemakers.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's just because of him. That happens to me a lot, like with the music and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I loved Mad Sweeney. And then I had just moved to Georgia. I'm from California. I had just moved to Georgia. And I was telling my husband, like, there should be like some redneck, like leprechauns, but like Duck Dynasty leprechauns.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I kind of put the Duck Dynasty leprechauns together with Mad Sweeney.
Yep.
And Troublemakers was born.
Yeah, I really like that one.
Thanks. I'm trying to incorporate. I have a really weird kind of sense of humor, I guess, kind of dry.
Yeah.
I don't know what my sense of humor is, so I'm trying to incorporate that a little bit more. It's not really an Ella or Garden, but it's a lot in my upcoming series.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I think we have a similar sense of humor because I really enjoy all of your stuff.
Oh, thanks. Some people get it, some people don't.
Yeah. Well,
sometimes I put stuff in just to entertain myself, too. Like, I don't care if anybody gets this. It's just really funny.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna put it in there,
Yeah, those are usually my favorite things, like the little, like it's just funny to you and no one else is going to get it.
Yeah. And then if someone gets it, you're like, soulmates.
Exactly. Yep. It's like a test.
That one person.
Yeah. So I saw...
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I saw at the end of one, I can't remember which book it was, but at the end of one of your books, you said that your short stories are a way to kind of like purge after you write a book.
Yes.
I love that idea.
Yeah. Because, you kind of get wrapped in that universe, and you need you need something in between, a palate cleanser. Is that what they call it? In food restaurants, you get a palate cleanser.
Yep.
So some of my short stories are like a palate cleanser. You know, they kind of clean out my brain and all that, kind of prepare me for the next one. I haven't written a short story in a while, and I don't know. I think I was just so wrapped up in Ella, and then Garden was just this whole thing. Garden took me a year, and I was a mess. At the end of Garden, I explained everything that happened to me while I wrote Garden.
Oh, okay. I
haven't really had, and then as soon as I was done with Garden, I jumped back into the series that I'm writing a series now. So I jumped into writing a series. So I haven't really. I tried a while back ago to write just a short story about Valentina after she left.
Oh, yeah.
Dealer, and it was crap. So I threw it away. It was terrible. Well, I think Valentina was just done.
Yeah. You know? Sometimes you have to figure that out, you know?
Yeah. I was writing because I really wanted to write like an after short story, like a glimpse of Valentina.
Yeah.
And I wrote it, and I'm like, this is crap. It's sometimes you just got to recognize the crap. So.
Yeah.
But thank you.
So when this comes out, Garden will be out. Do you want to give us like a little synopsis of what that's about? I just started it and I already love it.
Started Garden.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, really? Oh, good. Thanks. Okay. The idea for Garden came with the fact that I really hate cooking. I
Same.
I hate cooking with a passion. But I have children, and the law says I have to feed them, and I can't afford to eat out every day. So one day I was just talking to my husband. I'm like, I wish there was a pill. Just a pill. You take the pill, and that's it.
Yep.
You know, we don't have to cook. You cook like on Sunday or Thanksgiving. You know, that's it. And then my morbid brain went into, what if the pill did these things? So I also have a thing for, I really like a good villainess.
Oh, yeah.
I love, I'm kind of female heavy in my books because I love women that kick ass. I love a female villain. I'm a fan of villains. So the idea for Garden came about with me going, okay, if there was a pill that replaced food, and I need a real psycho villainess.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So that was the idea. So the premise of Garden is Madam, my villainess, creates a pill called Yum that you can take. And when you take this pill, it replaces food, but it's also highly addictive, and it creates different types of ticks, a different tick for each individual. Some people have very small ticks, Some people have very, very pronounced ticks where they could, and some people have multiple ticks. So if you think of maybe Tourette's, where somebody can't control something that's going on. So that's the main premise. So it's the premise of these three sisters that go off to, that are hiding from Madam because they don't want to take these pills. And it's I'm just trying to condense it.
Yeah, I know, it's hard to do.
It's dystopian horror with cannibals. There you go.
Nice. That sounds fantastic.
And I was trying to, in each of my books, I really wanted there to be a specific weapon. Mm-hmm. I wanted a different weapon. So in Ella, you had the gun that, that shot, I think it was like fire. Isn't it? That's terrible. I should really know. But
it's out of your brain.
Yeah, I'm like, it's like, it melts stuff. Yeah, it melts stuff. And in Garden, there's the shakies. So shakies is a weapon that shoots out. I don't know if you've gotten to this yet.
Not yet, no.
But it shoots out like let's say couple hundred small tiny beads that stick to the human, goes through the skin within milliseconds, and liquefies a person from the inside out.
Oof.
So that was a good thing. That was a thing for me. I wanted each of my books to have a weapon. So I'm pretty content with my villainous and my weapon in the Garden. But the premise is dystopian. I really wanted to write a dystopian novel, and I don't know. That was it. That was it for me.
Dystopian's definitely one of my favorites.
That's also convoluted. I should have just brought up the synopsis and read it. It's also convoluted.
It's so hard to condense it,
Oh, gosh. It's like, I can write a whole book. Yeah, no problem. Don't ask me to tell you about it in 2 paragraphs.
Yeah.
Like, I need a whole team of people to help me just come up with... I actually had 3 different people help me come up with a synopsis for Garden.
Oh, that's a great idea, because I cannot write a synopsis. It's so hard.
It is so hard. And, one of the persons that helped me is Brian Meeks. He's kind of big in the indie world.
Yeah.
You have to put the Mr. Movie Phone voice in your head.
Oh.
the Mr. Movie phone voice. He's like, garden in a world, whatever.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
Yeah. But, so dystopian, cannibals, a really crazy villainous badass. Well, she's cool. I like her because I like villains.
Yeah.
And a weird weapon, and these three sisters.
Nice.
That makes all sense.
Yeah, that sounds great.
I was actually, with Garden, I was a little, I don't generally write, and I'm not giving anything away, I generally don't write gore.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of gore in Garden. I think that's kind of new for me, because I in fact, my editor a couple times messaged me and said, thanks, I can't have lunch now. Thanks.
Oh, yep.
I was like, yes. And I grossed her out, yes, because she's hardcore and you can't get to her. So if I got to her, that's good.
That's good, yeah.
Yeah.
And now I'm even more excited. I love stuff like that. So I do find, I find writing gore to be difficult because you don't want it to be like, I don't know, like too much,
Yeah. Especially since, I think from Ella on, I decided I would write clean. Mm-hmm. So there's no harsh language, there's no sexual content in my books, and I have a whole reason for that. And so you can write gore, but I have to watch how I write the gore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The reason I just started, I'll just condense it really quick. The reason I decided to write clean and nothing against, I was at a book convention, with authors. Yeah. And this 14, 15-year-old girl came up to me and she wanted to buy my Women of the Gray series. And I looked at her and I'm like, I don't feel comfortable without your mom here or an adult here selling you that. So I didn't sell her my books on purpose. And then I thought, I don't like that. I don't like that I'm telling somebody not to read my stuff. Yeah. That doesn't sit well with me. Yep. And so from then on, from Ella on, I decided, well, I'm going to write clean. That way grandma can read it and a 14-year-old can read it and I don't have to stress out about it. So you would think that writing gore, you don't have to worry about. Writing gore, you don't have to worry about. Some gore does call for an F word or something graphic. And you have to write gore. So the way I write it is clean. Yeah. So it sounds backwards to write gore clean.
Yeah, it sounds challenging, definitely.
One of the things I found really funny about writing gore is I'm a sci-fi horror nerd, but I don't like gore on movies and stuff like that. It grosses me out. But here I write these really gross things. I don't know how that works on my brain. I really don't. Yeah,
maybe because it's coming from your brain. It's okay.
Yeah, I do. It's coming from me, so it's fine.
Yeah, it's different. So one thing I did want to ask you is I've noticed you have different types of kind of monsters or villains in all of your books. They're pretty different. Do you have a favorite type of monster?
What's really funny is my favorite kind of monster is not in my book, and I probably should have this at some point. I love kaiju. Oh. I love Godzilla. I'm a big kaiju person. So, kaiju being big, gigantic monsters that thrash a city. I'm a kaiju nerd. Oh, nice. That's my favorite monster. I love kaiju in any type of form. Of course, Godzilla's my preferred, But I love kaiju, and I haven't written kaiju yet. I haven't written that yet. So kaiju would be my favorite. I just haven't put anything in a book. I probably should. It probably might happen.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Yeah, I'm a kaiju nerd. I will sit and watch Godzilla movies all day long.
Nice.
I don't know why. Yeah, I'm it's an event when the new Godzilla movie's coming out.
On
Wednesday, I think. It's an event in my house.
Oh, nice.
No one better talk to me. I got my feet up. My man is on. Godzilla's on. My man is
nice.
Leave me alone.
So to end the interview, I wanted to discuss a book that has some significant meaning to you. If you want to tell me about one.
Okay, I will. It's going to take a little bit of a story. Everything takes a story with it.
I love it. Yeah.
Okay. There's always a backstory with me.
I love stories.
There's always a story with me. I am, my mom is from Sonora, Mexico. So Spanish is my first language. Okay. So a lot of people around my dad's a white guy. My mom's from Mexico. I was raised between America and Mexico, right? So I was raised in both. I went to school a lot in Mexico, and I went to school a lot in the States. And so my mom, and not because she's a horrible mother, never explained anything to me, what was happening with the female body. Because it was her belief where she was raised that if you educate the woman, it sounds very Handmaid's Tale, but if you
Yeah.
educate the woman, then she'll go out and do naughty things. So my mom didn't tell me anything. So it sounds crazy, but the book that meant the most to me is Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret by
Yeah.
Judy.
Oh, that's
Because
one of my favorites.
I knew nothing. And that, I just found it at the library. I read it. And I swear to you, I haven't done it yet. I've always wanted to send her a thank you letter.
Yeah.
Like, thank you for explaining stuff that I could not, because it's written in the perspective from this girl going through the exact same thing that I was going to.
Yeah.
I had no access to information whatsoever because it was hush-hush in my household.
Yeah.
You know, and it was kind of ridiculous. So of all the books, and I'm a big book nerd. Now, because of my vision, I mostly do audiobooks. I go through maybe 1 or 2 audiobooks a week. And before, when I was like reading, I mean, I would read maybe 2 or 3 books a month. You know what I mean? I'm a big reader. So all the books I read, that's the one that's closest to my heart because it was there for me when I needed it, like a good aunt. Like if I had an aunt that had like the thought process of like, we should explain things to her.
Right. Yeah.
You know? I'm not telling her anything. So that's my book.
Oh, I love that.
That's my choice. And I don't have daughters. If I had daughters, I would have, of course, explained things to them.
Yeah.
But I would have definitely given them that book and been like, you know what? This was here for me.
Yeah.
A close second to that, and this sounds so like, it sounds not bad, but not bad. It just sounds so stereotypical. Is The Catcher in the Rye?
Oh yeah.
Because after when I got a little bit older, I read The Catcher in the Rye, and I'm just like, this is. I'm not weird.
Yep.
I'm not strange. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And when my son turned 16, I handed him The Catcher in the Rye. I said this because I have obligatory. Well, it's not obligatory, like mandatory. I have mandatory reading in my house.
Oh yeah.
So there's certain books it's mandatory that you have to read if you were my child.
Nice.
So I'm like, you're 16, you have to read this book. And
Yeah.
he's like, what? I'm like, read the book.
Yeah.
He's a big reader anyways, but he mostly reads nonfiction. And he read it. He's like, that's the best book I've ever read.
Yeah.
I know.
Yep. It's so good.
I don't even know why it's so good, but it's so good.
Yeah. I think it's always nice to read something and feel seen, you know? And I think exactly. Both of those books kind of have that because I felt the same way about Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, because I had the same situation. It was just not discussed, you know? And
really? I thought it was just Crazy Moms in Mexico. No.
Oh, no. No.
I thought it was just my mom because she was raised on a ranch in Mexico. But,
no. Oh. Yeah, I have a connection to that too. And I love Judy Blume too. I've read just about everything she's written, I think.
Yeah, I think I have as well. Yeah. I've read almost everything that she's ever written. Has she written some adult stuff? I think she has, right?
I think so.
Read adult stuff.
I think I've read one of her young adult books, back when I was a kid and probably a little too young for it. I can't remember what it was called now, but I just remember it was it was shocking to go from, her kids' books to this much more adult book.
You're like, Judy, what's up?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
but I was ooh, I was totally into it.
That's like seeing your junior high school teacher buy wine.
Yeah.
Hey, you know?
Yep.
Yeah. Stop it, Judy. Yeah.
Yep.
I want to ask you a question.
Sure.
So of last year, what was your book of the year that you read that you were just like,
ooh,
this is my book?
That is a tough one. I'm not sure. I read a lot because I went through a long period where I stopped really reading a ton, and then I started getting book of the month where they send you a book every month just so I could start reading again, and they were all so good, but they were all also I read a lot of thrillers, so really fast reads, but not, I don't know, they all kind of blend together. So.
Yeah, I understand, because it's almost like they follow a formula.
Yeah, they definitely do. Yeah.
They follow a formula.
Yeah, I love the ones where they break from the formula. I think one of the ones that I read that kind of broke from the formula was called Silent Patient, and I can't remember who wrote it, but that might be my choice for...
Right, for the book of the year?
Yeah.
For 2020.
Yeah, I'll pick that one.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like it when books... I tried very hard in my writing to be unpredictable and to be different, because that's the way to lose me, really.
Oh, yeah.
Is if you're following a formula, and boy meets girl meets boy, whatever, they have a friend, whatever, murder happens, everything. And,
Yeah.
A friend of mine recommended this whole series that she absolutely loved, and I think there's like 60 books in the series.
Oh, wow.
I read 2 of them, and I'm like, these are all the same, except they're in different locations.
Yeah. Some people make their whole career doing that, you know? It's just the same basic thing.
And good for them.
Yeah.
Good for them, you know, but not for me.
No, I don't like it if I figure things out like early in the story. I want to be surprised, you know?
Yeah, that really makes me mad.
Yeah.
It really makes me mad when, like, a TV show, any TV show, movie, book, if, like, in the first couple minutes or whatever, the first couple chapters, I know the ending.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I'm not going to
shock me.
Yeah.
And, like, not shock me. I have to be guessing.
Yeah.
I just finished a book called What Big Teeth. I can't remember her name. It's something so sad. I actually am posting the review tomorrow night, and I linked the podcast on that book, and I loved it because it was so interesting. The premise was like usual, like, okay, there's werewolves and there's this and there's that.
Yeah.
But the book was so interesting because I had absolutely no idea what was going on. I knew what was going on. I didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And that's what hooked me.
Oh, that's the best.
I mean, the fact that I'm like, I know what's happening. I understand, everything's going on. But what the heck is going to happen next? Like, where could she possibly go?
Yeah.
And that's what I love.
Yeah, that's the best.
That's what I strive for. At least I try to strive for in my writing. I want to be unpredictable, and I want to be different.
Yeah.
I don't want to be... I'm hoping that when people read my work, I stand out, and I'm not the same, and I'm not in a formula.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I feel like your writing doesn't have a formula, but you have a definite voice. You know, like it all has, like I can read it and know that it's you writing it. You know what I mean? Without looking at the, cover, obviously. But
yeah. I think I might, and I'm not sure, one of the things that I do that I believe gives me a little bit of a distinctive voice is I write in English with Spanish grammar, and it drives my editor insane. And I catch myself doing that a lot. So in my brain, it's in Spanish, but it's coming out in English.
Right.
And I think that might give me a little bit of a different feel.
Yeah.
Or tone. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
Maybe. Because I catch myself doing it all the time because I'm writing in Spanish grammar.
Right.
I'm writing, I'm writing things in English, backwards and all that. I think she's used to me by now, but I think it kind of gives me a different tone or a different balance.
Yeah.
And I'm not aware that I'm doing it. It's just who I am. In here, it's all Spanish. It comes out in English, but in here, it's all Spanish.
Right. Oh, that's so interesting.
And I translated, like, Ella, my book, Ella, I translated it into Spanish, and I'm getting ready to translate The Demon Dealer.
Oh, that's so cool.
I work as a translator, and then one of my friends was like, will you translate my book? I'm like, no, I can't do that. And I thought, wait, stupid, you're a translator.
Right.
And then I thought, I'm not going to translate your books, I'm going to translate my books.
Yeah, seriously.
I'm like, I feel so stupid that I'm like, I can't believe I have not thought of that.
That's awesome, though, because now you have, like, 2 different audiences.
I'm trying. It's really hard. The Spanish market is difficult.
Yeah.
And it's difficult because most of the Spanish books are written in what's considered Castilian Spanish, Spain Spanish.
Oh, okay.
And I'm in Mexico.
Right.
So I'm like, my Spanish is a bit different. So I'm always trying to find a common Spanish that all of Latin America, and Spain and all that can read. It's kind of difficult. It's a balancing act.
Oh, that's interesting.
Anyways. I talk a lot.
No, that's cool. I'd never really considered like that you would have to balance it like that, but it makes perfect sense. I mean, obviously.
Like on an average day, I might talk to somebody from Puerto Rico, then I might talk to somebody from Honduras,
right?
And I might talk to somebody from Mexico City, and each of those people will have a different word for pig.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
So, or cupcake.
Yeah.
I called when I was translating Ella. There's a cupcake scene in Ella.
Yeah.
And I called 3 different friends in Mexico City. I talked to one person from like the Dominican Republic, all to get the most common word.
Yeah.
Cupcake.
Oh, jeez.
It took me like a week just to get cupcake down.
Oh, wow.
So I knew what was the most common word for it. So,
yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy, but yeah, that's kind of my aim, is to try to make a voice for myself as a writer in Latin America.
Oh, that's awesome. Very cool. Well, thank you so much for agreeing to be on the show. And thank you so much for writing all your books, because I just love them.
Oh, thank you. You make me happy. You're like making my week now.
Oh, good.
This is great. Good. I will most definitely email you or something after the show.
Oh, yeah, please do.
You know, other authors and all that you can contact. But you know how it is, the indie author community, you know how it is.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and I'm hoping, that was kind of why I wanted to start this podcast. Like, part of me just wanted, I've always kind of wanted to have to write book reports, like, you know, as my job, sort of. Yeah. But I also, you know, I spent some time, like, I've tried to do the indie author thing. I don't know that I'm good enough at, like, selling my own stuff, but I just saw a way that maybe I could help people get the word out about their books, you know?
That's fantastic. And you're right. Marketing it's a job within itself.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
The days of writing a novel and sitting back in the house and pretending to be Salinger, which is what I would love.
Oh, yeah.
Do, but those days are over. It's almost like a pay to play. You know, if you don't market yourself, if you don't advertise, then I think I read that it's about 30 to 40,000 books a day get uploaded into Kindle.
No kidding.
You know,
yeah.
So sometimes authors will tell me, well, you know, the authors will complain to me, and I tell them, I'm like, walk into a Barnes and Noble and look around. Mm-hmm. I'm like, that's your competition times 5.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I'm like, so it's very difficult if you do not advertise, if you don't push, if you don't do things like that, then you're lost in the ocean of voices. You know?
Yeah, definitely.
So, but I really appreciate the fact that you had me on. I had so much fun. Anytime you want to discuss books, I'm a major book nerd. I will talk books all day long. Oh,
good. I will definitely have you come back on the show then. I would love to do that. This has been really fun.
We'll talk. Oh, we'll do books of the month or books of the year.
Oh, yes. Like I'll be more prepared next time.
Yeah.
I also have a problem where, like, I read something so fast and then it's just like the essence of the story is still there, but it's just kind of gone. You know, like I can't keep it in my brain.
Oh, yeah. But I get it. Well, I mean, I go through audiobooks so fast that, you know, I do try to, I used to like read the audiobook and then do a review right away. But now what I do is I read an audiobook and I already have my next audiobook loaded.
Yep.
So now I'm starting to review 2 or 3 together because I'm like, well, it's like 2:00 in the morning or whatever when I finish this one, and I just went ahead to the other one.
Yep.
Because I'm addicted to audiobooks.
Oh, I love
audiobooks
them,
are addicted.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I try to do all my nonfiction books in audiobook because it's easier for me to like take it in that way, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, good. I'm going to email you a good recommendation for a nonfiction book.
Oh, okay.
She's hilarious. She's got like some sort of like stuffed raccoon on her cover. It's weird.
Oh, jeez.
But,
is it Jenny Larson or something?
Happy or something?
Yes,
like
I read one of hers, or I listened to it, and she is fantastic. She's so funny.
I absolutely loved her, but she's also, for me personally, a bit overwhelming.
Oh, yeah, I could see that, yeah.
I'd be like, shut up, girl. And I was
Yep. I did have to pause it a couple times.
A couple days.
Yep.
But then I'll listen to you. I'm like, you are way too high maintenance for me.
Yeah.
I got other things to do. I've got children. I've got to sleep. You're way too high maintenance.
Yeah. I can see that.
To me is like a slow digest. I have to take her in increments because I can't handle her all at the same time. She drives me crazy.
Yeah.
So. Anyways, thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Anytime. I love to talk about books. I'm trying to think of something positive I could say about Garden. I don't know. If you like horror and cannibals.
Yeah.
Can I talk a bit just for a second, since this is going to go on audio, about my new series that I'm writing?
Oh, absolutely. I would love it.
I told you. I decided that I was going to go back, and I mentioned this at the end of Garden. I was writing, and I thought, why am I not, representing my Spanish heritage? Why am I not representing my culture?
Yeah.
So in Garden, that's why the sisters are the Martinez sisters, and there's a bit of Spanish in Garden. Mm-hmm. So I decided to go straight into the Santa Muerte. If you know what that's Saint Death. Oh, yeah. So in Mexico, a lot of people worship Saint Death. It's like a religion. So I'm writing a Santa Muerte Bruja series, which is a witch series.
Ooh, nice.
So it's called the Santa Muerte series, and it's the Santa Muerte witch series. I think it's going to be about a 5-book series.
Oh, wow.
That's what I'm writing now.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait. That's awesome.
So it's based on the religion and the belief of La Santa Muerte.
Oh,
so I
very
don't know
cool.
what they call her in English, Saint Death, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess that's what they would call her, yeah.
I always love a good witch book. I'm so excited.
I didn't think think I'd ever write about witches.
Yeah.
I really didn't, because I'm so, like, I love my aliens. You know that.
Yeah.
I love my aliens and I love my demons.
Yep.
But I started to have a lot of people ask me
Yeah.
to write a witch book. And I have my mom always had one foot in the church, and in Mexico it's very, very common to go visit a witch. You know, so my mom always had me, like, in church, and then we'd go to the witch, and I thought, why am I not writing about this?
Yeah.
My whole childhood was spent in this.
Yeah.
You know? It's like, so that's why I decided, you know, that I was going to write a series and call this something where, and then I wasn't really sure where I was going to go with the series. I knew I was going to write Mexican witches, the Mexican style of witchcraft. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like a different side of that. It's a different side of, like, Wicca. It's like a whole,
it's
a whole different thing. And I realized that there's something more to this, like, so popular, you know, and it's gaining in this religion in Mexico. And I was like, that's it.
That sounds awesome.
I've taken enough of your time. I hope you enjoyed Garden. And, anytime you want to talk books, I'm here for you.
Great.
Anytime.
Well, thank you so much.
I'll send you an email. All right.
Okay, definitely.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Willkommen, book lovers. I'm still on my second language journey, and I love supplementing my learning with Prismatext. They have a ton of great classic books and are adding more all the time. I'm reading great stories that have German words mixed right in. It's such a fun and useful tool for learning a second language. Right now, they offer books in English as the primary language, and the targeted languages include Spanish, French, Italian, German, and Portuguese. Check them out using the link in the show description, and use code BOOKSANDCATS, that's books, the letter N, cats, for 30% off your order. 30%. Supplement your language journey while reading amazing books with Prismatext. Welcome back, book lovers. I hope you enjoyed my chat with Carol James Marshall. I would highly recommend any of her books. I covered her book, The Demon Dealer, in an earlier episode. At the time, it was my favorite of hers, but then Garden came out. I really, really enjoyed this book. The villain, Madam, is so very evil, but also believable. Her motivation is very real. There's a pill that's called Yum that takes away the need for food, but it is also highly addictive and causes body tics that range from minor to severe. If you're able to control your tics, you get to be a part of the elite and dine with Madam. If your tics are somewhat controllable, you can work at the Yum Factory. But if they get too bad, you go to the old section of town and wait to be hunted. They have to get the meat for Madam's exquisite meals somewhere. Yep, the elite get to eat food, but really it's mostly people. Cannibalism? Check. It definitely gets a little gory, but it's so well written. So outside the city and hidden by thick camouflage is a group of people called the Gardeners. They have refused to take Yum and have had to go into hiding. Madam has drones as well as her hunters, and they have to be very careful to not get caught. There are 3 sisters that live among the Gardeners. The oldest, Lola, is trying her best to keep her sisters safe and protected, and she comes off as a little severe and overbearing. The middle sister, Jen, feels a burning urge to save their parents from the Yum Factory and their inevitable demise. And the youngest, Susie, is happiest while reading and takes whatever chances she can to go to the library in the old town and read. So complicating this already dire situation is Jen's relationship with Danny, who is Madam's son. But he also has secretly avoided taking Yum for his whole life. He helps the sisters stay safe from the hunts, and they sneak him food so he can survive. So this is already a mess, right? On one of the sisters' trips into town, they find a terrified young woman and they bring her back to the Gardeners' camp. And this is when everything goes a little cray-cray. That's all I'm going to say about this. I don't want to give anything away, and there are several storylines woven together, so I don't want to get into the weeds with the plot. And that pun was totally intended. I'd like to end with the quote of the week, which I took from Garden, and the quote is, "Eat the damn ravioli, Clarissa." It doesn't really have any meaning. It's just a little example of the humor that's in this book, and it made me smile. So be sure to check out Garden, which is out now. as well as everything else by Carol James Marshall. The links are in the show description. Thank you so much for listening, and until next time, keep reading.